What's up, guys? I'm back in your face again, and you know why. I got a bag. Okay, gang, let's jump straight into this. I am so excited because I have jumped on SelfKey on Binance, Key USDT. We're going to check out the charts, and full disclosure, I actually have already bought this bag, but I'm adding more. And I'm going to tell you all about why, and we're going to break down the technical analysis on the Key chart. So let's zap me away and take a look at the chart. This is the 4-hour chart. So much action happening on Key that just, oh boy, it makes my heart beat. So if you've been following this thing, we had this big massive pump that happened around the 26th right here that took us straight up to 1 cent. That is just incredible, unbelievable. I got into Key at the price of 0.0022 the first time, and so I could have actually cashed out for a 5x, but who can ever tell when this thing is gonna, pump to and come back down to, what the peak is going to be. I actually thought that it wasn't going to go any higher than right here at about 0.006. And then it took that little breather and went on up to 1 cent. So you just can't call that. It's nearly impossible. But since then, we've had a nice and steady correction, bouncing up and down. Let's make this red. So we kind of bounced up and down, and we see some action happening around the magical fib circle boundaries. These rings that I set up on this fib circle set. And if you want to see what the beginning and ending dates are, you can check out my trading view post and see those details. But it's based on a low point in 2018 at the bottom of the bear market, and then it takes you to another peak at the end of 2018. Well, whatever the case, this fib circle set is what I call hot. I got to do the quotes for you. It's hot. And the reason why it's hot is because we see several points where there are pivots on the line, on the different fib circle rings, and also where the price tends to crawl along those rings. So that's why I like study these things and find out between two significant events, between a bottom and then a pump, at the beginning and end of a swing channel, and then see if we get some confluence with the fib circle rings and the price. All right, so back to the chart. I'm trying to figure out when we get another buy, and as we dip down in here, I started to get excited, but I thought we were going to dip further down towards the base blue line here, and I'll tell you why. In fact, let's just go to the 4-hour and zoom out a little bit, and we can see our fib circle rings here. Now, let me indicate to you what these rings are. First of all, we have the 4.618 that is at the top. Let's get that on there, 4.618. And then we have the 4.236 that is right underneath that. There we go. Then we have the 3.618. And last but not least, we have the 2.618. So here's where I got fooled. Before this big fat green candle jumped in out of nowhere, we were sailing down. This just happened like boom, out of nowhere. And before that, we had a nice progression where I thought we were going to come on down to the 2.618. The Key had another idea in mind. And while I was staring at this stochastic where it went up right here, see where it went up, and then the blue line crossed over the red, and then it faked me out, and the blue line overtook the red, and it decided to move in the positive direction. Now it's just shooting straight up. Let's make that green instead. We got a nice stochastic pump, but where did we see rejection? Now this is very, very interesting. Let's just zoom right in here and look at the two rejection points. Number one, we saw a rejection right there. It went above it a little bit, close to the line, almost dead on at the 4.618. So then price moved down, and then the next rejection, we had a full red candle form on the 4-hour right here at the 4.236. So that's interesting. So we might be headed back down towards the 3.618 or the 2.618. And I don't know which one it's going to be, because the determining factor will be Bitcoin and how deep the correction will be. So I'm trying not to be greedy here, because either one of these levels will be a good area to buy. And dollar cost average, DCA, that's going to be the call of the day. Let's just put that on the screen so we can concentrate on that. Dollar cost average. We know that these fib circle rings are going to provide some pivots, and the price is going to stick along these rings. So I would say that buying right here at that 3.618, if we continue to move down, is probably just as good as any. But if we reverse this stochastic, we could come down to the 2.618 if the volume continues back down. Okay, so we had this little bitty peak in volume here, and I'm not really convinced that this volume is going to continue. It looks like it is going to go and disappear. So if the volume stays quiet and goes back down, kind of like this, I'm going to look for this stochastic here to kind of move up and then probably head back down. And like I said, depending on what BTC does, it could move back down here into the oversold zone. This would definitely be the area where you would want to pull the trigger. If we can get down here in this oversold underneath the 20% boundary, you probably can't go wrong. And I don't even care if the price dips below this 2.618 and goes down here to this blue baseline. Still, you're at a good price point, because once we move back up, I mean, look what we just did. Let's clear all this out. We pumped all the way up to 1 cent. So that was a 5x for me at 0.0022 when I came in. And if you're buying somewhere around here in the 0.003 range, or higher even at 0.004, you're still sitting pretty for a nice at least a 2x to a 3x, because what's going to happen is once we find that base, the next pump is going to be fairly strong. Oops, let's get an arrow here. The next pump, I think, once we hit this base, let's say if it stops right here, we're going to shoot up to that next higher level, and 1 cent is not even going to be on that chart. Because when you watch the progression of these things when we're in a bull market, you notice that all of the previous movements, when you see these triangles happening here, these get flattened out. Now this is the new macro movement. Let's just get this off the screen and then watch what happens to this flat stuff before. This used to be exciting. Okay, so let's just move this up. This is what this looked like before we knew that it was going to pump up. Look at that triangle action. Look at the action along those fib lines. Okay, so moving back through the past, we can see that this was the action within this price range of 0.001 to 0.002. So now we're big boys, and we're moving up to that next level that we have to scrunch this down. That's why we have these logarithmic charts, so we can see what's happening after we hit that next level. All right, so let's zoom in on this on the 1 hour and see if we can get a little bit more clarity on these possible places where we could bounce down. So now we're looking at our 4 critical fib circle rings, and we're looking at the stochastic on the 1 hour, where it's kind of telling us that the fast line has crossed over the slow line. So the next movement with the stochastic is going to be going down. But here's the thing I want you to consider. Look at these peaks. We got a peak here, and then we have a higher peak, and then we have this one that popped up with what looks like the jump to 0.005 again before we continue back down. So when you look at the corresponding price, which that goes with each one of these stochastic peaks, here's the first one. Then we peaked again, and it was a lower price. But then this one didn't play along. We peaked, and we brought a higher price. So I'm thinking that the clue will be what happens on that next stochastic peak. If this peak returns a price that doesn't send us far and beyond this peak here, then we're probably not ready to moon yet. So we want to watch for what happens with this volume. If we can get some volume coming back, some massive volume that goes along with another big stochastic peak. If this thing can come up and peak again, then it might push this price well above and send us on that next pump to the next level. But I don't think it's going to happen just yet. So we'll have to wait and see again what happens to Bitcoin, and just look at this whole area here for doing the DCA, dollar cost average. All right, let me show you one other thing with the fundamentals on this project. So let's turn drawing mode off, get rid of me, and pull up my Excel spreadsheet. I've already got key highlighted here. So here's key. This is the price it was when I first discovered it. It was 0.00206. And we have a total supply of about 6 billion, circulating of about 2.7 billion. So the float is 3.2 and the market cap is $5.7 million. So this is a pretty small project. We've got the micro level on the market cap, which means that if something big happens to this and big developments, there's going to be a lot of money pouring into this project. And when you compare it to some of my other favorites, you can see that this market cap is tiny. So that means when that volume comes in, there's a good possibility that it could pump. We want that pump. So that's about all I've got for right now. We'll keep our eyes on what Bitcoin does, and then we'll see if we can get another buying opportunity in here. And I will let you know again, if you want to follow along with what I'm doing, join me on the Telegram group. It is Crypto Carlton. If you go to Telegram and search Crypto Carlton, you can find me there. You can also follow me on TradingView, or just post a comment right here and check the links that are below this video. So what are your thoughts? What do you think is going to happen next with Key? Do you think that this is a good zone to start doing some dollar cost averaging? And what do you think the next level is going to be based on what this project has in store for us? What's going on with this project? Share your comments below. I would love to hear it. And until next time, don't make any decisions based on what you see in this video, because I'm not a financial advisor, okay? I'm just trying to hustle up a little money because my kids need shoes, we need some lunch money, and if you listen to me and make buying decisions, you might end up the next one in the food line. So if you don't want to be eating free soup in the food line, do not make decisions based on what you hear any random person say on YouTube. So that's all I've got for today. Keep your eyes on Key, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.